Okay, so my mic is working here. Da-da-da-da-da. Wow. Now my mic is working on both sides, so let's go ahead and get started. And I see the name is cut off. I shall fix that. Why is like that? I don't know. Okay, whatever. We have 3 games we're going over. Hopefully we can get them done in time. I did start a little late, so that's fine. Review started. Okay. We have Yoa versus Zazetsu. Zasetsu. Okay, very classic 3-3. You can definitely back off. So there's a few things that you can do. For example, this is one of them. I believe the follow-up is usually a Tanuki, and then when they play here, I think you can push through and do something like this. But I'm not completely sure. I do know that this is one variation. The variation that I regularly play is this one, and this is a Joseki. The thing about this one though is, although this is the normal move, in some positions you can see that black can play here, and the idea is just that black is going to fight you because they have strength on the right side. So you do need to be careful about that. I think this is perfectly fine. If white happens to play this, then let me see if I can change it. If we do A for B, then this is going to be a good exchange for white. You know, we have a wasted move here at B for black. But I think in general, most players will play this way, and then you can play a large move on the left side. Okay, continuing. Okay. So we have to really think about relative strength, right? If you play this move, you give white this free move, and if you Tanuki, white gets to take the stone, right? So you have to spend a move to fix. We don't want that. The best way is to play a double Tiger's Mouth, so when they do Hane, we can respond in a way that makes sense. So now, if they Tanuki, we just get to take the stone for free, and now we've taken the corner. So if white spends a move to Hane and they fix, well, now our group is relatively safe. We don't have to add a move, but you probably should, because now we're weakening the corner, right? You could also take the base, but it does mean that you do deal with stuff like this, right? So, or if you play here, you still deal with it, because, well, white can still cut you, right? So in this particular case, we would actually jump out with our group to put a lot of pressure on white. Then our group is safe, and then you Tanuki. One thing I would like to note is that this is a very large move. Even if white gets another move on the left side, we get to play this. There's debate about this, but like the way that black is coming out is a lot better than say if you had crawled and then played like this. The shape is more resilient, is what I should say. So it's a good idea to follow up with the Kosumi to protect against the push. If white pushes, like they just give us more strength this way, and then we can fight. And the other variation, like when they attach, this is a Joseki, by the way. When they attach, they can play moves like this, or they can play here and then force this. There's a lot of variations, and like you're a little bit weaker in this case. So just some food for thought there. For white, I would make this exchange once and then extend. You don't necessarily want to give the opponent this move, because now the corner is theirs. Strong group. Okay. This is going to be a lot better than this one. Although I will say, if we get into this position, you can definitely fight. You could actually play here as well. And the idea being, like, you're going to try and kill white, or let's say white lives type of thing. Let's just say that white's able to live here. Right, you take the stone, they live, and now you get to come back and play here. You get this giant wall, both sides live, you get the corner. I'd say this is probably okay, minus the, the top left type of thing, but I would like to play here before I'm trying to make this as a big area, because this is a weakness. If we play this way and we get to some Joseki stuff, white just gets to destroy the area, and normally, so the proverb is you take the stone, right? Your opponent gives you stone, you take it, and for white, you cut on the side that you don't want. If you don't want the outside, you'll play this way, and then you'll take the corner. But why did we play one first, right? The goal of playing one is that we do want the outside, and we'll play this way. Whoops. Take, and then play a tiger's mouth, and then the left side is large. Okay. Black finally got it. See, you could have made this exchange first and then jumped out. I'm not sure if this is going to be the best move here, but I will say that it does provide. It does work well with the other stones. My initial thought was like we should probably do something here, but maybe we don't have the ability to play this, but I think we do. I kind of want to do a tighter seal, but maybe we can't. Not 100% sure, but it does mean with a seal like this, black is going to be able to live. They can play here first. If you take, they take, or they'll play the Atari first and then take. But and then like this position here, like we can already see that in this particular position, we have two knights moves, and knights moves can be cut, so our shape isn't particularly strong. Even if we did connect this, right, black is going to be fine. We still have the same issue, but this is a little bit stronger. But that does mean our left side got weaker, so it's kind of it's all context based. We have to decide what weaknesses we want when we attack like this. But when we give our opponent just this, we're just straight up weak now. If black is able to cut here in Sente, that means there's weakness here. And in that regard as well, like black can still just jump here. I see that white is finally playing here. This is good. I'm hesitant to say whether or not this is a good idea, but instead of pushing, we can still play moves like this. And the goal is like if the opponent is trying to, I think this is the way to play. I think black needs to jump out here. White can get the outside, so maybe I think black needs to play this. Black can't play that one. Black has to play here first. And when white connects, black can extend. But then there's just, there's just this. Even if it's like this, you can get a full surround. So normally black will play something like that, or just play here directly. But this gives white this, so you can attach and you can fight this. Especially this weakness. It's a little bit more of an advanced technique. Hopefully that helps you later in the game, or later in games. Okay, so in this case, when you're putting it attached like this, usually you would follow up with something along these lines. And the opponent usually needs to stop you from making eye shape, but the issue is when you play stuff like this, you're looking to make that eye shape anyways. I'm not 100% sure if that lives, but tiger mouths are really nice, and the fact that we can play this way and we can fight this. We can give up stones if we need to, but I don't think that will be the case. I think this is the strongest way to play locally. Yeah. So white is counterattacking, but the issue with white is they attached. If you're gonna attack your opponent, you need to play loosely, or you should push. The idea being here is we can play this one. Maybe we want to get this going, and then leave the Aji for later. Otherwise, I think something simple like this is fine, but we don't need to give the extra stones. It would be nice to make sure that we have the Aji, though. Issue like this, if we just push, we don't cut, we don't want to do anything like that. Don't make the exchange, don't lose the extra liberty type of thing. Now you can fight this. Normally when someone invades like this, you either want to play high or cap. Attaching just gives them more strength. And locally, like when you cut here, you're giving black strength to attack. Now, like when you connect, they connect under. If you play here, they'll take. And in this case, they can actually just give up the outside stones for the inside stones. Just be aware of that. Oh, that's exactly what happens. In this case, we are kind of doomed. He's meant to move here. Yeah, this cut wasn't really good. Still, it's probably a good idea to test the waters here. If the opponent blocks, we can cut. Although, I think we have the ladder. Yeah, we have the ladder. So you have the ladder here, we can do that. There's also the fact that, like, once we play here, we have this move. And although the opponent can play here, we can do this now. There's a lot of things that we can do with the group. And I think what will actually happen is black will probably play on the outside. But maybe we can force this and live locally. Black will play something like this, and then we can cut. But there's some issues on our end. Okay, so we run into some issues. We can't do the squeeze, but we can definitely play this first. If, I think we have to do this, and then we have to kind of like fight this type of thing, but we lose this race, unfortunately. So it would have been nice to see you try something, or at least cut. So the cut here, they don't have the ladder, first of all. They have to play this Atari, right? Yeah, actually, if they cut. So now, let's see. If we play this way, and then connect, we could turn and sack the stones, but we don't want to do that. Instead, we need to make sure that these stones are safe. Which one thing we can do is just play this way, and then we get the first move in this fight, right? So like this, we get to capture those. So likely what black will happen, or what black will try to do, is try to capture these stones, but just like this, it's hard to capture them. So we missed a chance by just cutting here. We took the chance to turn, but we didn't fix one of the issues. I wonder if we play here, do they have the ladder? Yeah, they have the ladder. So we would have to respond to this. And the issue here is we can take this move first. We can play here, they can take, we can take a liberty, and we still win this. Okay. So big thing is we missed the cut. We took the stones on the outside, unnecessary. I think you just play here. This is going to be a lot safer. Later in the game, when these stones are surrounded, you'll find that like this becomes excruciatingly painful. And if you have to give up these later, then like this group can die. So to give you an example, if we just fill the liberties here, and then I play this one, if you block, you have to block down, and then you're not alive in the corner. So while for now this is fine, but this is going to be a lot stronger. There's just no way for white to actively try to steal the eye, right? White can take, or they can poke, and we're still alive. Okay, we came out directly. This is fine. I would like to answer this once, at least. Because when you play here, you're allowing your opponent to push. And this can get a little dicey. So if you respond passively, then you give white basically permission to surround the whole side. If you push, well, now you're giving white this, and they're still going to get the outside. A little bit more holes, though. If you block, they're going to get some sort of endgame here, and they're still going to get the outside. So I think forcing the opponent to answer a little bit is a good idea. Okay, your opponent answered, doesn't matter. We can take the stones a little bit better. Just playing here. It does mean that they have senti moves, but you're gonna have to respond to those anyways. Okay. Yep. That's a big move. But I can see why we played here. This is fine. I would have played high. This is a good natural move, so if they come here, you can still cut through, but also like you can take a big move. And you've raised the position into a good kind of like arch on the side, so you get more points. This way you get, well, less points. Even though you can still go in the corner, it's a little lower and doesn't feel as good. You can make this bigger by just jumping. No need to play anything fancy, just jump. I would argue that this is probably going to be bigger than a move here. So this area is closer to the whole white center here, other than this one. So even for black, I would say that we need to target this group and try to come out. You can push as well, force white to play here, and then you can jump in. You can also probably play here directly, and then try to use the Aji, but I feel like white would be happy to try and steal some of the side. So probably push first. If they block, well, now you can go further because there's a weakness. If they extend, we need to make sure that, well, we don't lose any cutting points here. I guess we'd play here. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we can also just jump out and risk the biscuit type of thing. If, like this, they're just trying to separate and kill us, but at that point, the opponent's kind of all in. But that means we're also in a bit of a dicey position. Continue with the game. Okay, so white got this as well. We blocked. That's cool. White is getting a lot in the center. Black has a lot of points on the bottom. White gave up this. So, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. 1, 2, 6, 8, 9. So this is 9 times 8. I can't math. 72. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 82 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 90, 94 plus Comey. So we have about 100 and 101. Does black have an 109, 101 points? I don't know. It's an even game. Okay, so continue with the game. This kind of looks like a, all right. So we actually gave white a lot here. I kind of accounted for that already, but this is a lot of points here to give. Well, we did gain points here, but it looks like black was able to cut through. One stone is not good enough to save. Corner side center, it's super big. In the end, this is pretty good endgame by both players. That is not good enough endgame. We need to just play this way. In fact, if you wanted to do it, we should play this one and the answer, and then we can play this way. And we don't have to answer this one. If we push, we do. The question is, can we capture the white stones, there is Aji, so they could probably play here and then we can't. Right? So I guess it's a matter of... that's tough. Okay. This is unfortunate. This gives white way too much. Yeah, that's a sneaky move. Okay, continuing. Yep, black had the extra moves on the outside, so they got that privileged. Okay. Oh no, white got a really good position on the inside here. I would even play this one. I guess you could save it for a co threat, that's actually fine. I just play here, they take, and then take these stones, and it's game over. White getting a ko in the area is too big. That's too much. Okay, I'm gonna have to say after this that white won this game. You may have like gotten this large area, but white breaking into this plus the 100 points that they have here, or the 90 something points that they have here. So yeah, the big thing here is that we weren't very careful about our group here. This has a lot of weaknesses if we don't fix, right? We probably should have done something like this, but I'm not 100% sure. For a thing like this wasn't really necessary. It makes sense that we would play it, but like it doesn't. You're only helping white when you play this way. Like white's not fully alive, right? So like you would want to play stuff like this and then play here. And they haven't broken your shape yet, right? Like white is trying to survive here. So attacking by surrounding first before you try to go for a kill is important. If you give them unnecessary moves, it's going to be too much. I see. So this is probably the problematic move. We can't really play this way because we're allowing white to break through. But it's really not necessary to try and fix that. Especially since like if we have to connect and give white the ko anyways, we should just not play it, right? You can play here for a better position. There's also like fixing here is probably not the best way to do it, but there's some issues with the group. So in conclusion, like the early fight was too good for black, and white missed an opportunity to play here. As for the rest of the game, black you played really soft at this point. We probably didn't have to answer this just yet, but we did. That's fine. Blocking here is fine, but we also need to realize that our opponent is, trying to make this like large area, right? They're building balance. We may have this large area, but that doesn't mean we can play softly. So we need to make sure that we keep our opponent under our points. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, so we have Go-Go Boy versus James Pong. Review started. All right. Interesting 3-4 facing. That's fine. Not protecting this is a little weird. Like I would, play here or play one of these moves. Not doing this makes me feel like if white gets this and you play a mirror position, white has the better position. So make sure to finish your Josekis. Again, both players should like focus on like the larger area. You can Hana here. It doesn't change anything. You still get to extend from the wall. In some cases, you can go into complicated 3-3 variations. In most cases, players usually just extend. But here's some variations that do happen, and then you can tanuki. I wouldn't recommend jumping. Yeah, you're supposed to jump when you're walking stones, but when it comes to something like this, you can also knight's move too. So when your opponent bumps, you're ahead of them, right? In this case, you just give the opponent a reason to create bad shape. So just extend and then Hane, or just Hane directly. Normally the move is just to play here. You'll force the opponent to come out. So in this particular position, I would imagine that white's going to play this way. And then we have a very strong move in the bottom right with the tiger's mouth. That means that white needs to fix. And then we can spend another move, making the right side very large. Very large. This is a little slow. We're not actually protecting anything. So the opponent can't actually push through. If you have the ladder, it's fine. But like, your opponent can still poke you, right? If you play an empty triangle, they can still poke you and then cut you. If you connect here, it's a disaster. So in this case, if you're going to fix the position, you should just play this way. And then you're probably thinking, well, can't they cut? Well, sure, they can cut at a cost. You get to capture the corner. They have kind of a redundant move here. The two stones are captured. So black is getting a lot here, and we tanuki the position where the opponent can threaten a double Atari. And like black being able to wrap around white like this is not super good. Even if it's like this, right? I think white has to play here. And if you live small while black gets a large wild outside, you're gonna have a tough game. So black should have punished this. Although it's not entirely punishing, but sorry. We can still go on the outside. The issue is that black can just leave it at any time, and you still have to fix, right? And black is going to be able to take away the ice space. So in this case, just extending once is going to be very powerful and important. I would say answering here is important, but this is also pretty big. The issue with the way that this is being handled is that white is happy to take this, even if you do this. White's going to take this, so you lose a move if you try taking on the outside, and if you try taking the one stone, white's just going to give it up and then extend, and you kind of ruined your own corner. So probably best to answer and then let this happen. Corner's big. Corner's very big. Uh, that's fine. Normal move is just connect. Even if they can play here, the normal move is just to connect. Usually when this happens is like you go for the corner type stuff, which can happen here. They need to connect, and then we can connect, but then sometimes I think we can just play here. Yeah, this is the better way of doing it. So you can connect, and then they need to fix solidly or not. This is one way to handle it, and then later you can just reduce the side. We don't need to worry about it because, one, this is a very flat area. Between these stones is flat, so it's not very large, right? It does mean that we hurt our stones here, right? Because we didn't answer after playing here. But we played this move after we approached, and we got the wall here. So maybe we shouldn't have approached the side that was not important. Okay, so we protected. I think playing here once and then shoulder hitting is a better way of attacking the group. When you just play here and then you bring the stones out, like black is happy to push and then fight this. And especially if you answer like this, let's see, I think you need to answer here or play this one, but you're going to be met with some nasty moves, right? Black is just going to get a lot of points on the side while bringing their stones out. Not to mention, black can still jump in the corner. The corner is not yours. There's also, like, this to do some fearing. Like, if we play here and then black cuts, like, the whole center is gone, right? So then, like, you need to fix, but then black goes for cutting the corner. Black does sacrifice some stuff, but there is a lot of risk to trying to attack your opponent this way. So maybe we should just play here and then extend. Or even just take... I actually like this. If the opponent answers, we can take the points. But this is also big to extend. Remember, like, we almost have all the corners. A lot of us also didn't... We still haven't played here yet. There's a lot going on in this game that we're leaving half-open positions that we're not finishing. Ouch. Yeah, we should definitely answer this. Black trying to take on this position is a little interesting. I don't know if I like this as much, but when we get down to it, black can do this, which is frustrating, actually. So we need to play here, but then we have to play like this and give up our stone. That's not fun. Oh, we played the wrong Atari. I would still play here. And then play this. Because when I connect, it's really hard for white to fix all of this. So now I can play here and capture all of it, or when white connects here, I just cut. And now I have a very large side, and there's a cutting point that white still has to deal with. If they play here, we just take a larger portion of it. We don't play this one, we play here for more points. Okay. Here we can actually, so we can play the Atari first. I'm gonna play like this. The goal with this, obviously we want to try to live, but with something like this, I think we run into the issue where white is going to win this race. So like we're not going to win it, but maybe we can do something. I'm not sure. We can still play here. And in this case, white actually has to come back and fix. So white needs to come back and fix, and then we can steal the corner. White's not fully alive either, so there's that to consider. We can force this too, and then come back and fix. So white would need to find another eye, and they'll find it pretty easily, but you can steal corner points. But I think the big thing here is we should have played this one. The crosscut is ambitious. We should play here. And the idea is that when they fix, we can come back to the corner. We're not helping the opponent. I think this is best. But it's always fun to fight. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, white should definitely have tried to done this. This is exciting. We're fighting. Obviously, white just wins this. You'd actually have to play this way. There's issues with this, of course. Right, if you play this way, we're going to lose the stones. But you can Hane. And you can give it up. They can play moves like this first. But if they commit to the bit, they're going to have a very rough time handling this position. So they have to fight the outside. I think they can throw in, and this would turn into a ko. One with actual issues, right? So here they don't actually, I guess they have one co-threat and we have two. So if they commit to this, we can take and then it turns into a double ko. So that they don't want to do this. What'll happen is like this will happen, and then white is technically safe. Okay, so we fought. We lost. We didn't squeeze out what we could have, but it happens. That's a big move. I can agree with that. This is also going to be a very large move now. You're preventing white from coming into this area, which is super huge. There's really nothing over here. We did give our opponent way too much in the bottom left. And here we need to be a little bit more forceful. If you're trying to make points here, we need to be more forceful. We actually lost a lot of points here, which is saddening. There is other things, such as this. This would be this would be extended ko. You need to win the ko pretty much a few times. White has a lot of local ko threats, but you could technically ko for this group, or you can get this massive Hane and block. That's pretty big. This area is not the largest. Block here is the largest. Yeah, okay. I would probably still play here, just for the sake of better endgame. Now the opponent, when they play later, they don't get this move. I guess that's fair. Oh, interesting. Yeah, white was ambitious there. They should have just played this way. So black got a really nice squeeze. So for those not following, there's this. There is some issues with the shape over here. But I think that something like this is going to take a bit of getting used to. Black is going to get this nice wall, so like white won't be able to use this immediately. Especially since black is going to look to aim to block here. In this case, white kind of messed up. They should just jump, and if black plays here, we can turn. If black blocks here, then we get this really nice tiger mouth in the center. This is really big for black, so blocking in the center of this side will be big. We do have a floating group here. We do need to be very careful. Yeah, I'm not sure why we made that exchange. We didn't need to. The opponent cannot kill our stones if we don't make that exchange. So that's rather unfortunate. Does that? Yeah, that's Sente. I'd play here. You have bigger, so the reason we're playing this one is just bigger in game later. This is true, but like any move here is not going to be the biggest, especially when you should be focusing on attacking black here. They have an eye, locally speaking, but it comes at the cost of taking away some endgame stuff. So they need to secure their eyes in a way where they can get this later. Otherwise, they lose a lot of endgame if white is able to forcibly uh, make black play this way and then come back and fix. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting way to do it. I would play this way. And when white fixes, we can play here. But maybe it's not better. I don't know. It's slightly better because we couldn't block. Do we need to answer that? Yes. Yeah, we had to fix. I'd argue that white probably should have tried to be a little bit faster. You guys really need to focus on attacking. In this case, it looks like the group is alive, but there is a lot of open space here. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. For example, if you play here, there's a move. So like you're literally forcing black to connect up the stones. So if black just ignores, we can't cut. But he has to answer, and then you can take away ice space. So playing on the outside is so important. The group is not fully alive, and you're threatening to take away things from black. Even if it's like this, right? They can play here. We take, they take. We play the Atari, and we successfully sealed the left side. Uh, Black getting in is very painful. This is very painful as well, because now you have to live small. And if you extend, you still have to live small, right? Play here. Very makes the corner a lot larger. We lost a lot of points this way. Okay, that's a good sequence. Black got there first. That's nice. It does mean that now white can try to attack this, although now the outside is too much. Okay. Excuse me. So big thing about this game is we got a chance to attack the opponent. We kind of fumbled this. Like if the opponent wanted to play this way, we should have let them. And even if they did, oh well, we can't actually do this, unfortunately. I guess we would have to play this way, and if they played this one, then we could have done it. We could have played a kill, but big thing is like we missed a chance to actually just live here, but we gave our opponents a bunch of stones. We didn't play the tiger's mouth sooner, which is or not the tiger's mouth, the honey and the tigers in the corner. That's super huge. This tiger mouth was big, and black should have gotten this wall here to make this area large. This also helps your group on the left side, which is important, right? And white's attack here shouldn't have worked. I think like the turning point in this game really is the bottom left corner, and like if we wanted to attack this group, we should have played this one into this move. I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but with something like this, at least we can separate the stones. Otherwise, we can forcibly try to take the corner because of the cut here. So if white tries to, be super fancy here, we get this move. And then we can descend. And then if they cut, we connect up. If they block through, they can have these stones, but then we're attacking these. Which white would need to run, and then we can attack the corner for this stuff. And there's also just not allowing the opponent to play a good shape on us. But our opponent never did, so we got lucky there. All right, let's move on to the next one. Review started. Okay. So this is Oscar C versus Al Robin. I see this a lot. So this is going to be, so there's two Joseki shapes that you can make, and this is one of them. The other one is we continue this way, so we'll have this, and then white tanukis, or black jumps, and we get this shape, and black gets the first move. That being said, I can understand why we played the tiger's mouth. I would not have done that. I would have just pushed and then hunted. This just makes white into like this really bulky shape that isn't really doing a whole lot. because one, we have the corner points, but we're also wrapping around white, so we don't have a very comfortable shape this way. But this is also not a very comfortable shape to answer. So one issue is if we play this way, there's a chance that white does stuff like this and then plays a diagonal. And the goal for white is just to force you to come back and capture. If you play this one, they get this Hane for free. Oh, there's also just extending as well. So if you're not careful, there's also this, but I think white's just going to play here. And white gets the outside shape. So like the jump, not exactly ideal. It's not solid. We should try to handle our shapes a little bit better. Don't create unnecessary cutting points. Okay. Is this... This is not ideal. Our group is being surrounded, and if the opponent gets more moves, we're forced to answer. And like you can see when black is wrapping around our group, they're getting this large side by bullying us. Don't get bullied. Just try to make light shape here. Like we don't need to save all the stones, but we should play in a way where we can get Sente later and kind of just go for the outside. Okay, so for black, I really recommend stuff like this. You know, bully the opponent into the side. We're actually peaking on the bottom, right? So like when we push white towards the side that we have strength, it it allows us to build on a side that we want to. You could technically play from the reverse side and play this way, but it's not. I'd say this works too, but it doesn't feel as good because we're not forcing the opponent to continue running with bad shape. So we allowed the... Okay. You should definitely play in the direction of your weak group. So even if the opponent takes the sides, we already have a large nice move, right? So like the side's not going to be super big. And then when we play here, we don't have to worry about the Hane anymore. We can ignore it. We also wouldn't respond to the Hane anyways. We'd do the jump. But that does actually mean that, you know, if we jump before they play there, we can split the side, and this is fine. So a small Joseki mistake, but Tanukiing this is huge. Why are we Tanukiing? I don't think black will play this, but you know, imagine like giving your opponent this, you know, amazing corner, right? Like this is huge. First, we mess up a bit of Joseki, probably because we didn't know it, which is fine. But this is something we should know to not let happen. This feels like we're not really paying attention to the game. And if you really wanted to protect the corner, or like, I'm assuming you wanted the outside is what you wanted. If you wanted the outside, you should probably pincer. And the idea with pincer is you're changing directions. You give the opponent the side, and then you get the outside. But playing this way is no good. Black should not be greedy. You should have patience to go into the corner later. Because if you think about it, we have a sliding stone here. You can slide later for a bit more, right? You don't have to stop the opponent from getting everything. You can take a little bit by playing elsewhere. So you have the slide, of course. There's some issues with this. Like you don't want to give your opponent exactly this. Just giving them this shape is very thick, right? So generally the idea is, I guess we just play here, they fix here, and then we play elsewhere. Like you can finally play on the larger side, or you can play the not the Hane, but the Knight's move here, force them to run, and then take a large point here. They have this thickness. They're going to get this in Sente, but in all honesty, it's an empty triangle for an empty triangle, and this is L+2. So your shape is going to be fine. Got the honey. This is good. This shape is lacking a little. I would push once and then come back here. I guess in that case, we probably want to play here or play this one. Being this forceful, I would probably reckon that we need to just come out. If we play this way, we give the opponent a good shape. Right now they have position for 2 eyes. Whereas, like, my idea was to push this way, but it makes sense to, make the strong shape. But can't make the strong shape if we don't touch him. Okay. So, oh, this is not good. White just cuts you. If you go down, white goes down, you have the block. White can turn, but they're going to lose their stones, right? So they'll just Atari and then play here. Now you have to answer, and locally speaking, look what they got. They got a wall going this way, they have a wall going this way. So, like, white's focus is now in the center, and you're limited on the right side because of white stone here. So this is white fixed it. Okay. You should just connect. Connecting's going to be huge, super important. We didn't fix the actual problem. One problem is, well, later in the game they're going to be able to play this way, and then when you have to take the stone, right? Like, they can shift the focus in the actual game to play on the bottom, and like they're going to get kind of like all these points here. We do get some points in the corner, but there were points that you already had. So white didn't actually lose anything. They got points on the outside. You gained, let's see, what did you actually gain here? You gained kind of half a point there, but we'll just call it a full point. You had to fill in so 2 of these cancel out because the 2 stones here. You already played this stone, and you had to play these 3 moves. So because of these, you wasted 3 moves, and white got 3 moves on the outside, which is huge. I guess this 4 moves on the outside. Sorry. That's actually pretty big gain for white. So if those points are yours, and you had to play 3 moves on the inside, and white got moves on the outside, that's big. So this is a big thing that double-digit Qs and just Q players in general have an issue with, is shapes. Well, your opponent is literally trying to break through your shape. They're going to give you bad shape if you don't answer. Please answer. Please. And this is kind of akin to the same issue, right? Fix the actual problem by connecting the weakness. And generally, when your opponent plays like this, your move should either be to play solidly or to attack. When the opponent attacks, well, this gets into complicated situations where like you're fighting and everything, but in general, like, this is more of an exception than to the principle. But when you play this move, you give the opponent forcing moves that you don't need to. When you're attacking, it's best not to give your opponents forcing moves. And you're probably thinking, well, what if I don't answer that? Well, you give your opponent a free outside move. You also give the opponent Sente, even more Sente, to break through your shape. And the worst part is that they can still play this way, right? So, like, they just play here directly. You answer, and then they're fine, right? They can fix or they can Tanuki. And the reality is, like, you don't want to expend a move to cut when your right side is. You played a move on the right side to make points, right? So you'd play here to answer, but then they don't actually care. They're going to go for like the center stuff, right? So we need to be very careful about that. Okay, so we did answer. White you should poke to make your opponent have terrible shape. It's super important. You can continue to poke your opponent to have terrible shape, and then we've split black. Black is very sad. we can just poke through. You could even play this one too. But this is a very simple like example of just like why it's important to break your opponent's shape when they give it to you. This is very powerful, and it's basically game ending. I'm almost running out of time, so I'm going to speed up the review a little bit. Here, extend out, very important. Don't give your opponent free connection. This is very small. A second line move. You know, you're giving white the ability to build the center. If you're gonna play something, I'd recommend doing something like this at least, and then trying to break this way. At least this is forcing, and you're taking away points. But it's also really important to kind of like fix the actual issue in the corner here. That's important as well. Hane, this after the first Hane, it's really not that big anymore. White ignored. I would argue that this isn't big, but the way that we ignored is not very big either. I want to spend a move to fix, but we do. It is true that we do need the answer to not make our group weak here. If we do, we run into the issue that black is now attacking these stones. So I think in the game, black actually wins. Oh, well, I mean, this is just a reading error. We should be able to read the ladder from here. In fact, we should be able to read the ladder before we play the ladder. Super important. Just give it up. I think in the game, black surrounds a lot and they win. I could be thinking of the wrong game. It is, okay. So black kind of like breaks through, but like prominently, the issue for white that I saw was that you give your opponent shape issues, like in the top right, and then you don't break through. It's super important that we notice the opponent has bad shape, and then we break through the shape. And for black, I would study just punishing shapes in general, right? Like, the opponent is weak, surround the weak opponent, profit from surrounding them. Okay.